Hello everyone, welcome to today's yoga practice. I'm so happy you could join me. As you can see, I have somebody else with me today. If you don't know already, my name is Colleen. I am with Shine On Yoga. Usually I have Sam and Fritz with me doing dog yoga. They'll come and visit us. But today I have Miss Chai Cat. She's usually sleeping or doing something else, but today she's been a little bit clingy, so she's going to join us today for a little cat yoga. Yeah. All right. So she'll be here running around, so you'll probably see her. Today I have a very active class for you. We're going to be doing a lot of different flows. It's going to be very energetic, so if your energy level is low, then just stick with me here. We'll get that raised up. So today we're going to start out in mountain pose, but before we just go and get into mountain pose, because Chai Cat is here with us today and gracing us with her presence, yes, you, we are going to start a little bit more intentionally. So imagine when a cat is kneading or making biscuits or whatever you want to call it. If you've seen it, you know how they plod. We're going to do the same thing with our feet as we get into mountain pose. So just pick one foot up and place it down, spreading the toes. Really feel the foot to earth connection and feel your toes as they all hit the ground. Do the same on the other side. So lift that foot and then just slowly and mindfully really place it down, feeling all points of contact with the floor, the earth, whatever surface you're practicing on. So we'll go ahead and do that a few more times, really feeling it out. You can feel the texture of your mat, maybe the temperature of the mat. Really pay attention to what this feels like at the bottom of your feet. All right, once you do that a few times for a few breaths and you feel really good and grounded, go ahead and stand up nice and straight and tall. You can loop your shoulders up, back, and down, hands by your sides. Looking forward, take a nice big inhale. And exhale, let it go. Keep breathing here. We're just getting ourselves set up. Throughout this practice, we're going to come back to mountain quite a few times, so get really comfortable with it. All right, so you can see that I'm on the long edge of my mat. I'm going to go to the front of my mat because we're going to start a little flow here. So from the top of your mat, inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, slight bend in the knees, shift your hips back, start to forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, nice flat back. Exhale, let it go, and forward fold. If this position is difficult for you, you can use some blocks to bring the floor up to you. They can be on different levels. Or if you don't have blocks, just bend your knees as generously as needed until it feels good to you. Take some breaths here. You can shake your head yes, you can shake your head no. Now, wherever you're at, make sure your hands are firmly planted into the mat. We're going to step just our right foot back into a lunge position. Go ahead and lower onto that knee. Make sure your left front foot is set up in a nice 90-degree angle. We're just going into a nice low lunge here. Your back toes can be tucked or untucked. Make sure your chest is nice and lifted. Again, you can use blocks. If you don't have blocks, just raise up a little bit more. Or you can have fingertips on the earth. So go ahead and choose your position. We're going to stay here a moment just to stretch everything out and breathe. I have Fritz here. You can't see him, but he's on the other side of the door just whining and crying. All right, after your next exhale, go ahead and tuck your right toes under. We'll lift that right knee up. Go ahead and rock a little front and back, and when your space is clear beneath you, step your foot back up to meet your left foot. And on your next exhale, we're going to go ahead and roll all the way back up into our mountain pose that we started out in. So go ahead, come to your mountain pose, take a moment of stillness, breathe here. All right, on your next inhale, let's reach our arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, nice flat back. Exhale, let it go. Take a moment here to breathe on this side. All right, after your next exhale, make sure your hands are planted into the mat. We'll step our right foot back. Go ahead and lower into your version of a low lunge. Keep breathing here. Make sure your foundation is set up. All right, when you're ready, make sure your palms are planted. We're going to tuck those left toes under, lift that left knee up off the mat. And instead of coming back up to the front of our mountain, we're going to step our right foot back to meet our left, and we're coming into our first plank of the day. So you can either stay in a full plank or lower to the knees for a half plank. Either way, make sure your hips aren't dipping too far up and not dipping too far down. We're going to breathe here. Press away from the floor, press back through the heels. One more big inhale. And then exhale, we'll lower all the way down to the belly. I'm going to try and avoid chai. And let your head rest. Again, you can untuck your toes, press the top of your feet into the mat. We'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders, tuck those elbows into the side, and on an inhale, lift your head and your chest up into a little baby cobra. We're going to start small. We're going to come back to this and build this cobra in a minute. On your next exhale, go ahead and lower the forehead down to the mat. And when you're ready, we're going to come up to all fours. Go ahead and tuck those toes under. Take a breath here. And on the exhale, we'll lift our hips up and back. Go ahead and straighten through the legs. Press away from the floor with your hands. We're in our first downward facing dog. Now you can walk your dog by bending one knee and then the other, if you'd like. Just stretching out those calf muscles a little bit. Or you can just bring it to stillness. Take a breath here. All right, when you're ready, plant that left foot into the mat. We're going to lift the right toes up. Keep the toes dialed down, so your leg doesn't need to be clear up here or anything. Just in line with the hip, toes dialed down. Inhale. On the exhale, we're going to shift forward, bend that knee towards our chest, look forward. Go ahead and plant that right foot in between our palms. And when you're ready, we're going to use our core to rise up into a nice high lunge. Now you might need to adjust your stance a little bit. Again, make sure your ankle isn't coming over your toes. So nice 90-degree angle there. You can bend that left knee down to get your center under you if you'd like. And then straighten out that leg just so you have a nice strong base. Hands can be at hips, heart center, or you can lift them up. So go ahead and choose your positioning. We're going to take a few breaths here in this nice high lunge. Pull the right hip crease back, left hip crease forward. One more big inhale. And then exhale. exhale, we'll float the arms down. Go ahead and maybe pop the left leg back a little bit if you need to. And then we're going to step the right leg back to meet the left. We're back in our plank. Take a few breaths here. Or you can come to half plank on your knees. One more inhale. And then exhale, we'll lower all the way down to the belly. On your next inhale, we'll rise up into our baby cobra, or if you'd like to grow your cobra, really press into the ground and rise up. Now, if you have any crunchiness in your lower back, lower down a little bit. You don't have to come up as high. Also, if you find that your shoulders are becoming your earrings, roll those shoulders back and down. Keep breathing here. One more breath. And then exhale, we'll lower all the way down. Now for this next one, we're going to make our way into a downward facing dog. You can either come through all fours like we did, or you can come with me and I'll show you another variation. Otherwise, I will meet you there. All right. So if you're coming with me, let's take a nice big inhale in. And then exhale, we're going to press away from the floor. Coming back into the top of the plank. Inhale again. And on the exhale, we'll lift our hips up and back, coming into our downward facing dog for a few breaths. All right, when you're ready, make sure your right foot is firmly planted into the mat. We'll lift those left toes up, keep them dialed down. Inhale. Exhale. Shift that knee forward, look forward, and then we'll step our left foot up and come into our high lunge on the other side. Again, engage those abs to rise up. If you need to bend that right knee to bring your center underneath you, you can do so and just readjust and then straighten that leg. Make sure your base is nice and set up. Then again, hands can be at hips, heart center, or you can reach them up to the sky. Nice big breaths here. One more big inhale. And then exhale. Release your hands. Get really bouncy on your legs. And we're going to step our right foot up to meet our left. We're back in our mountain pose. Take a breath here. Getting off the wrist for just a moment. All right, on your next inhale, reach it up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we'll come up halfway. Exhale, let it go. Breathe here. So we're going to go into our third and final flow for this practice. It's a little bit of a doozy, but try and stay with it if you can. We're going to go ahead, make sure your hands are planted in the mat. We're going to step our right foot back again. Lower onto that knee. You can keep the toes tucked or untucked. And we're going to come back into our nice low lunge again like we did at the very beginning. Breathe here. One more breath. And then plant your palms, tuck those left toes under if they're not already, lift that left knee up. We're going to step our right foot back to meet our left, back in plank again, or you can go into half plank. Take a few breaths here. Now from here, make sure that your right arm is underneath your right shoulder. We're going to turn onto the outer edge of our right heel, the inner arch of our left, and we're going to turn towards the side, coming into a little side plank. Now, your feet, you can kickstand your foot, have that left foot bent and in front of you. You can also do that behind you. You can have your feet together. You can lift an arm up. You can lift a leg up. Whatever you feel like doing. Make sure you're breathing here. Spine long and straight. One more breath. And then exhale. We'll return back to center, lower onto the belly. And on your next inhale, let's rise up into your version of cobra. Take a few breaths here. Stretch out that front body and those abs. We are working them today. When you're ready, we'll lower it down to the mat. On an inhale, we're going to move into a downward facing dog. So go through all fours or plank, up to you. Nice inhale here. Exhale, press away from the mat. Inhale once again. Exhale, downward facing dog if you're coming with me. We'll take a few breaths here. All right, when you're ready, plant that left foot into the mat. Inhale, we'll lift those right toes up off the mat. Exhale, shift forward, look forward. We'll plant that right foot in between our palms. Lower onto that left leg. Low lunge. This is our final low lunge. Our final lunge of practice entirely, actually. So make it a good one. All right, when you're ready, we'll plant our palms, tuck those left toes under, lift that left knee up off the mat, back into plank. Take a breath here. All right, from here, make sure your left arm is underneath your shoulder. We're going to turn onto that outer edge of our left foot, inner arch of our right, come into a side plank on this side. Again, your hand doesn't have to be lifted. It could be overhead. It could be on your hips. Your feet, you can kickstand it in front or in back. You can stack the feet. You can lift a foot up. Whatever feels good to you. Breathe here, though. All right, let's return to center. And let's lower down into cobra. Woo! That was the last of the planks. All right, inhale. Rise up into your cobra. This is our last cobra. Lower it down and we'll make our way into downward facing dog. So I'll meet you there. From here, look up at your hands. We're going to make our way up to the top of the mat. So go ahead and take a few baby steps or big steps, whatever feels good to you today. On an inhale, we'll come up halfway, nice flat back here. Exhale, let it go. Forward fold, breathe. On your next exhale, slowly roll it all the way up. We're going to come back to standing. Mountain pose. Take a moment to let your heart rate settle. You can breathe in through your nose and out through the mouth to release some heat if you built some up. I'm feeling a little bit of sweat from those planks. One more breath here. Exhale, let it go. All right, one more forward fold. Inhale, reach those hands up to the sky. Nice big stretch. And then exhale, we'll lower it back down into our forward fold. Inhale, we'll come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it go. All right, we're gonna make our way down to our mat, so go ahead and make sure your hands are firmly planted. We'll step one foot back and then the other, and we're coming into our very last plank. I misspoke earlier. This is the very last one, I promise. One more breath, one more inhale, and then exhale, we'll lower it all the way down. Finally. All right, from here, bring your elbows underneath your shoulders, and then slowly peel that forehead and nose up, look forward, coming into a nice Sphinx pose. You can lower it back down from there. We'll come up to all fours. Go ahead and bring your knees as wide as the mat, big toes to touch. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, shift those hips back. You can walk your fingertips forward, melt your head and your heart to the mat. Extended child's pose. Take some breaths here. Now that is our final posture that we're going to end in today. So if you want to end here with me, just slowly walk yourself back up, come into a comfortable seat. Otherwise, if you'd like to stay in extended child's pose, you can. You could also transition into a shavasana. Since this session is designed to be a little bit more energizing, we're going to stop there with the cooling. And I have one last thing while we're sitting here. So those of you that have practiced with me before, you know I always pull a card for our practice. And today I pulled Parrot Spirit. And its message is to watch your words. What are you saying to yourself? What message are you repeating? Is it something that makes you feel good about yourself and reminds you of your strengths and your potential? Parrots mimic the sounds around them. And when parrot spirit appears, it is time to be more mindful of your self-talk and its qualities. What do you say to others? Are you repeating what you truly believe? Remembering to speak with light and love can become a habit. Be generous with compliments and thanks, affirming all that is good so that your loving, healing words will be heard throughout the jungle, cutting through the noise and inspiring others. Listen for the words that remind you of all the strength, abundance, and joy in your life and the world around you, and then repeat them, affirming what is real, true, and nurturing to the soul. The universe will reflect back to you the story you tell. Words matter, so choose ones that lift you up and inspire others to remember that beauty surrounds us. All right, I want to thank you guys so much for sharing your time and your energy and your practice with me. I will be back next week on TikTok Live with a brand new practice for October, since we'll be into October at that point. If you would like to see the replay of this practice, I do have a YouTube channel. The link is in my bio, so feel free to find me there and subscribe, and you can look at all the past sessions that I've done as well. For those of you on the live, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this practice, please leave a comment, or if there's anything that you'd like to work on, let me know. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I will see you later. Namaste. Shai says goodbye too.